that. It goes, or.
And that's not copyrighted.
Huh?
That's not copyrighted.
I'm pretty sure that it is by not that piece, but the something else is.
Somebody's gonna put the to be continued tag in there.
Anyways, you know we're live. Did you know that?
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live.
Did you know that?
No. But now we do.
I feel stupid.
Welcome to the fucking podcast, baby. The Halloween special. I know that this is going to come out before Halloween, but you know what? Hey, fuck you. It's my channel. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I love you. Dear viewer, please keep watching. I didn't mean it.
It's like, please.
I'm literally begging. Literally.
Oh.
It's like, please.
We're begging.
But as you guys can see, no Kevin, no Jack. Alan, why don't you tell them why we have no Kevin?
Well, so I was getting the stuff ready for the podcast, and I told all the guys, hey, come to the Fortress of Solitude, a.k.a. my house. And they're like, okay. And I was backing up my truck so I could pocket load, so everyone could park well. Well, he gets here, and I back into him. And he's dead.
So, for the joke of the day, we're going to summon his spirit to tell us the joke.
We have to do it.
No. Oh.
Whoa!
I think this orange juice is bad.
Okay.
When the lights go down.
All right, everybody.
Oh,
the joke has come to me. The joke. Why did the monkey fall out of the tree?
because he's dead.
Hey, I'm Kevin. I possessed Alan for a second. Sorry I'm not here. I'm currently making a deal with the devil.
What was that?
Okay, all jokes aside. This is not actually happening. Anyway.
I know you guys were spooked. I know you believed it. This is podcast number 3 of Begging Circle to fucking sponsor us. That'd be pretty cool.
Is it 3? I think it's like 5 or 4.
I don't know.
4.
How many times have I begged for
Is
it?
this 4? Yeah.
That's a
We
quote.
should have a count.
How many times have I begged for it? Also, oh my god, I forgot to tell you about another one that Alan said earlier today.
Look, you guys got to write them down, sir. So give to me.
Dude, that shit was so funny. Alan goes, I'm a Mick cum dump.
I'm a cum dumpster.
Oh, well, look what Kevin said last night at choir.
No way.
The last one. The last one. Okay, so let's put Alex's new one, and then we'll put Alex.
But anyways, that was weird. I felt cold. That was an experience I never want to feel again. I felt violated. I felt like
This guy.
I felt like my body was not mine.
He's going on.
He's
That was
still in
weird.
character.
That was weird.
He did his scoring for his script. Anyways. So, anyways, guys, we're going to be reading a spooky story. It's called PENPAL. Who's it by? This motherfucker is by a guy on from r/no sleep called 1,000 Vultures. He has a book, but I can't remember the actual thing. So,
Is it on Reddit?
I'm using Creepypasta Wiki because it has it already separated.
Okay, well,
So,
I want to follow.
how we're going to format this is we're going to read each part. There's 6 parts. We're going to read each part and give our opinions and our takes on it. And yeah, this could be a long podcast. This should also be a very short podcast. We'll see what happens. You guys weren't there for the first part, so I'm going to go ahead and read it again.
What do you mean?
I read it for the last time.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin. It was just Kevin.
Oh, after we left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after
that's-
you and Jack left.
That's right. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. Wait, what's it called?
It's called PENPAL.
Hold on, if it'll
Look
search.
up PENPAL scary story because otherwise it pulls up an actual PENPAL website where you can write to people.
Well, I'm on Creepypasta Wiki.
Oh, okay.
r/no sleep.
Go to the Creepypasta Wiki instead.
Bro, it isn't lagging. So.
Personal.
Holy crap. Yeah, I think my screen's frozen. Legit.
Can't be my Wi-Fi. It's the fastest in the land.
I don't-
It's not, but it's.
I was gonna say I
That's
don't
what
think
I'm
that's
saying.
true.
It's pretty freaking fast though.
Oh, I don't see it. One story for Enid.
Can I have?
That's yeah, there's one story for Enid.
Let me. Oh,
I'm not.
found it.
This orange juice tastes like
Orange juice,
yes, but
but bad.
tastes like. It's good until January 18th is what it says for 2025.
Can this thing leave me
Like when you eat like a tangerine or something like that. That's just what it tastes like.
How do you find this?
Weird. Very weird.
What? What do
Oh,
you?
okay, there's no space.
Here,
Footsteps.
I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you.
Anyways, guys, I'll.
Dude, your phone's about to die.
Okay, so this has the
Yeah, you're low as fuck. 34.
Oh,
I found it. Kind of cracked or whatever.
it's not that horrible.
31% is pretty fucking low.
It'll last.
Yeah, it'll last for a bit.
Fuck you guys. I hate you. Okay. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yes.
I will tell you guys this scary story has nothing to do with the paranormal. It is very grounded in reality, so take that as you will. I'm about to kick my shoes off here so I can curl my toes.
Holy
like a-
shit!
We're going to open this first. It's not locked.
Mommy pie.
Yeah, I gave him one the other day.
Alrighty.
You know, I never done with my.
Oh yeah.
Fucking throw it at him.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
Yeah, let's start this.
So are we taking turns reading this? What are we doing?
I can read it all.
Are you sure?
If I get tired, I'll ask one of you guys.
Sounds good.
I'll be like, please, please. All right, here we go. You guys ready? This is long, so I apologize for that. I've never had to tell this story with enough detail to actually explain it all the way, but it is true, and it happened when I was about 6 years old. Which, I just want to point this out. This is ironic, because this is a fiction story, so saying, it's true, it happened, for real.
It just draws the reader in more.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. In a quiet room, if you press your ear against a pillow, you can hear your heartbeat. As a kid, the muffled, rhythmic beats sounded like soft footsteps on a carpeted floor. So as a kid, almost every night, just as I was about to drift off to sleep, I would hear these footsteps, and I would be ripped back into consciousness, terrified. For my entire childhood, I lived with my mother in a fairly nice neighborhood that was in a transitional phase. People of lower economic means were gradually moving in, and my mother and I were two of these people. We lived in the kind of house you see being transported in two pieces on the interstate, but my mom took good care of it. There were a lot of woods surrounding the neighborhood that I would play in and explore during the day, but at night, as things often do to a kid, they took on a more sinister feeling. This, coupled with the fact that due to the nature of our house, there was a fairly large crawl space underneath, filled my mind with imaginary monsters and inescapable scenarios, which would consume my thoughts when I was awoken by the footsteps. I told my mom about the footsteps, and she said that I was just imagining things. I persisted enough that she blasted my ears with water from a turkey baster once, just to placate me, since I thought that would help. Of course, it didn't. Despite all the creepiness and footsteps, the only weird thing that ever happened was that, every now and then, I would wake up on the bottom bunk despite having gone to sleep on the top. But this wasn't really weird, since I'd sometimes get up to piss or to get something to drink, and could remember just going couldn't remember just going back to sleep on the bottom bunk. I'm an only child, so it didn't matter. This would happen once or twice a week, but waking up on the bottom bunk wasn't too terrifying. But one night, I didn't wake up on the bottom bunk. I had heard the footsteps, but was too far gone to be woken up by them. And when I was awoken, it wasn't from the sound of footsteps or a nightmare, but because I was cold. Really cold. When I opened my eyes, I saw stars. I was in the woods. I sat up immediately and tried to figure out what was going on. I thought I was dreaming. But that didn't seem right, though neither did me being in the woods. There was a deflated pool float right in front of me. One of those ones shaped like a shark. This only added to the surreal feeling. But after a while, it seemed like I wasn't going to wake up because I wasn't asleep. I stood up to orient myself, but I didn't recognize these woods. I played in the woods by my house all the time, so I knew them really well. But if these weren't the same woods, then how could I get out? I took a step and felt a shooting pain in my foot, which knocked me back to where I had just been laying. I had stepped on a thorn. By the light of the moon, I could see that they were everywhere. I looked at my other foot, but it was fine. And as a matter of fact, so was the rest of me. I didn't have another scratch on me, and I wasn't even that dirty. I cried for a little bit and then stood back up. I didn't know which way to go, so I just picked a direction. I resisted the urge to call out since I wasn't sure I wanted to be found by who or what might be out there. I walked for what seemed like hours. I tried to walk in a straight line and tried to course correct when I had to take detours, but I was a kid and I was afraid. There weren't any howls or screams, and only once did I hear any noise that scared me. It sounded like a crying baby. I think now that it was just a cat, but I panicked. I ran, veering in different directions to avoid big thicks of brushes and collapsed trees, and I was paying close attention to where I stepped because by that point my feet were in pretty bad shape. I paid too much attention to where I was stepping and not enough to where those steps were leading, because not long after hearing the cry, I saw something that filled me with a kind of despair I haven't experienced since. It was the pool float. It was only 10 feet from where I had woken up. This wasn't magic or some supernatural space bending. I was lost. Up until that moment, I thought more about getting out of the woods than how I got in. But being back at the beginning caused my mind to swim. I wasn't even sure that these were my woods. I had only been hoping that they were. I had run in a huge circle around that spot. Or did I just get turned around and start making my way back? How was I going to get out? At the time, I thought the North Star was just the brightest star, and so I looked and found the brightest one and followed it. Eventually, things started to look more familiar, and when I saw the ditch, a dirt ditch my friend and I would have dirt clod wars in, I knew I had made it out. By that point, I was walking really slowly because my feet hurt so much, but I was so happy to be so close to home that I broke into a light jog. When I actually saw the roof of my house over a neighboring lower set house, I let out a light sob and ran faster. I just wanted to be home. I had already decided that I wouldn't say anything because I had no idea what I could possibly say. I would get back in the house somehow, clean up, and get in bed. My heart sunk as I rounded the corner and my house came fully into view. Every light in the house was on. I knew my mom was up, and I knew I would have to explain, or try to explain, where I had been. And I couldn't even figure out where to start. My run became a jog, which became a walk. I saw her silhouette through the blinds, and although I was worried about how to explain things to her, that didn't matter to me at that point. I walked up the couple of steps to the porch and put my hand on the doorknob and turned. Right before I pushed it open, 2 arms wrapped around me and pulled me back. I screamed as loud as I could, "Mom, help me, please, Mom!" The feeling of being so close to being safe and then being physically pulled away from it filled me with the kind of dread that is, even after all these years, indescribable. The door I had been torn away from opened, and a flash of hope shot through my heart. But it wasn't my mom. It was a man, and he was enormous. I thrashed around and kicked at the shins of the person holding me while also trying to get away from the person who had just come out of the house. I was scared, but I was furious. "Let me go! Where is she? Where's my mom? What'd you do to her?" As my throat stung from screaming, and I was drawing in another breath, I became aware of a sound that had been present for longer than I had perceived it. Honey, please calm down, I've got you. It sounded like my mom. The arms loosened and set me down, and as a man approaching me blocked the porch light with his head, I noticed his clothes. He was a cop. I turned to face the voice behind me and saw that it really was my mom. Everything was okay. I began to cry, and the three of us went inside. I'm so glad you're home, sweetie. I was worried I'd never see you again. By that point, she was crying too. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I just wanted to come home. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just don't ever do that again. I'm not sure me or my shins could take it. A little laughter broke through my sobs, and I smiled a bit. Well, I'm sorry for kicking you, but why'd you have to grab me like that? I was afraid that you'd run away again. I was confused. What do you mean? We found your note on your pillow, she said, and pointed at the piece of paper that the police officer was sliding across the table. I picked up the note and read it. It was a running away letter. It said that I was unhappy and never wanted to see her or any of my friends again. The police officer exchanged a few words with my mom on the porch while I stared at the letter. I didn't remember writing a letter. I didn't remember anything about any of this. But even if I sometimes went to the bathroom at night and didn't remember, or even if I could have gone into the woods on my own, even if all of that could have been true, the only thing I knew at that point was, this isn't how you spell my name. I didn't write this letter.
Oh, it's creepy though.
Yeah.
No. When you said, or when you were reading the part that said, the sense of dread of being so close to safety, but then being physically pulled away from it. And I feel like we've all had moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of was a eerie feeling.
But like, can you like imagine, like as like a little kid too, like you're like young,
But you don't understand anything like that. And it's just,
it's like
what fears so much more. I don't know. I find that there's fear in the unknown a lot, and that's obvious. But like being a kid, you don't know virtually anything. So like there's the fear that comes from that of not knowing what would happen. But now, being young adults, we know a lot more than we obviously did back then at those ages. But we still have fear of the unknown in different ways.
Yeah.
But we also have fear of the known.
Yeah.
So now it sucks.
So now it's just a shit show overall. What are your thoughts there, Alan?
I thought it was creepy as hell. But it wasn't creepy as I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
But it's still like, oh shit.
That's just part one, though, right?
Yeah, that's just part one. There's 6 parts to this.
That
first part, by the way, is called Footsteps.
Yeah, this next part is called Balloons.
Yeah.
That's what it says here.
And this will be really interesting.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
For the second part?
Good.
A couple days ago, I posted a story called Footsteps here on /NoSleep. There were a number of questions that made me curious about certain details about my childhood, and so I spoke with my mother. Exasperated by my questions, she said, "Why don't you just tell them about the goddamn balloons if they're so interested?" As soon as she said that, I remembered so much about my childhood that I had forgotten. This story will provide some greater context for the previous story, which I think you should read first. Though the order isn't of vital importance. Reading that story first will put you in my place more effectively, since I remembered the events of Footsteps first. If you have questions or anything, feel free to ask and I'll try to answer them. Also, both stories are long, so heads up on that. I'm just hesitant to leave out any details that might be important. When I was 5 years old, I went to an elementary school that, from what I've come to understand, was really adamant about the importance of learning through activity. It was part of a new program designed to allow children to rise at their own pace. And to facilitate this, the school encouraged teachers to come up with really inventive lesson plans. Each teacher was given the latitude to create his or her own themes, which would run for the duration of the grade. And all the lessons in math, reading, etc. would be designed in the spirit of the theme. These themes were called groups. There was a space group, a sea group, an earth group, and the group I was in, community. In kindergarten in this country, you don't learn much except how to tie your shoes and how to share, so most of it isn't very memorable. I only remember 2 things very clearly. I was the best at writing my name the right way, and the Balloons Project, which was really the hallmark of the community group, since it was a pretty clever way to show how a community functioned at a really basic level. You've probably heard of this activity. On one Friday, I remember it being Friday because I was excited about the project and it being the end of the week. Toward the beginning of the year, we walked into the classroom in the morning and saw that there was a fully inflated balloon tied off with string taped to each of our desks. Sitting on each of our desks was a marker, a pen, and a piece of paper in an envelope. The project was to write a note on the paper, put it in the envelope, and attach it to the balloon where we could draw a picture on if we wanted. Most of the kids started fighting over the balloons because they wanted different colors, but I started on my note, which I had thought a lot about. All the notes had to follow a loose structure, but we were allowed to be creative within those boundaries. My note was something like, "Hi, you found my balloon. My name is blank, and I attend said school, blank elementary school. You can keep the balloon, but I hope you write me back. I like Mighty Max, exploring building forts, swimming, and friends. What do you like? Write me back soon. Here's $1 for the mail." On the dollar, I wrote 4 stamps right across the front, which my mom said was unnecessary, but I thought it was genius, so I did it. The teacher took a Polaroid of each of us with our balloons and had us put them in the envelope along with our letter. They also included another letter that I assume explained the nature of the project and sincere appreciation for anyone's participation in writing back and sending photos of their city or neighborhood. That was the whole idea, to build a sense of community without having to leave the school, and to establish safe contact with other people. It seemed like such a fun idea. Over the next couple of weeks, the letters started to roll in. Most came with pictures of different landmarks, and each time a letter would come in, the teacher would pin the picture on a big wall map we had put up showing where the letter had come from and how far the balloons had traveled. It was a really smart idea because we actually looked forward to coming to school to see if we had gotten our letter. For the duration of the year, we had 1 day a week where we could write back to our pen pal or another student's pen pal, and in case our letter hadn't come in yet. Mine was one of the last to arrive. When I came into the classroom, I looked at my desk and once again didn't see any letter waiting for me. But as I sat down, the teacher approached me and handed me an envelope. I must have looked so excited because as I was about to open it, she put her hand on mine to stop me and said, "Please don't be upset." I didn't understand what she meant. Why would I be upset now that my letter had come? Initially, I was mystified that she would even know what was in the envelope. But now I realize that, of course, the teachers had screened the contents to make sure there was nothing obscene. But all the same, how could I be disappointed? When I opened the envelope, I understood. There was no letter. The only thing in the envelope was a Polaroid, but I couldn't really make out what it was. It looked like a patch of desert, but it was too blurry to decipher. It appeared as if the camera had been moved while the picture was being taken. There was no return address, so I couldn't even write back if I wanted to. I was crushed. The school year pressed on, and the letters had stopped coming for nearly all the other students. After all, you can only continue a written correspondence with a kindergartner for so long. Everyone, including myself, had lost interest in the letters almost completely. Then I got another envelope. My excitement was rejuvenated, and I reveled in the fact that I was still getting a letter when most of the other pen pals had abandoned their involvement. It made sense that I received another delivery. There had been nothing but a blurry picture in the first one, so this was probably going to make up for that. But again, there was no letter at all, just another picture. This one was more distinguishable, but I still didn't understand it. The photograph was angled way up, catching the top corner of a building, and the rest of the image was distorted by a lens flare from the sun. Because the balloons didn't travel very far, and because they were all launched on the same day, the board became a bit clustered, and so the policy for the students still exchanging letters became that they could take the photographs home. My best friend Josh had the second highest number of pictures taken home by the end of the year. His pen pal was really cooperative and sent him pictures from all around the neighboring city. Josh took home, I think, 4 pictures. I took home nearly 50. Holy shit! That's a lot, by the way. The envelopes were... Huh?
A Polaroid
Of fucking just Polaroids.
That's crazy.
50 Polaroids is nuts. The envelopes were all opened by the teacher, but after a while I stopped even looking at the pictures. However, I saved them in one of my drawers that housed my collections of rocks, baseball, baseball cards, comic book cards, Marvel metal cards for those who might remember, and little miniature baseball batting helmets that I'd get out of a vending machine at Winn-Dixie after T-ball games. Golly. With the school year over, my attention turned to other things. My mom had gotten me a small snow cone machine for Christmas that year, and Josh had really coveted it. So much so that his parents bought him a slightly nicer one for his birthday, which was toward the end of the school year. That summer, we had the idea that we would set up a snow cone stand to make money. We thought we'd make a fortune selling snow cones at $1. Josh lived in a different neighborhood, but we eventually decided that my neighborhood would be better because there were a lot of people who cared for their lawns. The yards in my neighborhood were slightly bigger. We did this for 5 weekends in a row until my mom told us that we had to stop, and I've only recently come to understand why she did that. On the 5th weekend, Josh and I were counting our money because we had both had a machine. We each had a separate stack of money that we put together into one stack, and we then split it evenly. We had made a total of $16 that day, and as Josh paid out my $5th, a feeling of profound surprise consumed me. The dollar said, 4 stamps. Josh noticed my shock and asked if he had miscounted. I told him about the dollar, and he said, "That's cool, man." As I thought about it, I came to agree. The idea that the dollar had made it right back to me after changing so many hands floored me. I rushed inside to tell my mom, but my excitement coupled with her being distracted by a phone call made my story incomprehensible, and she responded simply by saying, "Oh wow, that's neat." Frustrated, I ran back outside and told Josh I had something to show him. Back in my room, I opened the drawer and took out the stack of envelopes and showed him some of the pictures. I started with the first picture, and we went through about 10 before Josh lost interest and asked if I wanted to go play in the ditch. The same ditch. A dirt ditch down the street from my house. Before his mom came to pick him up. So that's what we did. We had a dirt war for a while, but it was interrupted several times by rustling in the woods around us. There were raccoons and stray cats that lived there, but this was making a little too much noise, and we traded guesses at what it was in an attempt to scare each other. My last guess was that it was a mummy, but in the end, Josh kept insisting that it was a robot because of the sounds we heard. Before we left, he got a little serious and looked me right in the eyes and said, "You heard it, didn't you? It sounded like a robot. You heard it too, right?" I had heard it, and since it sounded mechanical, I agreed that it was probably a robot. It's only now that I understand what we heard. When we got back, Josh's mom was waiting for him at the kitchen table with my mom. Josh told his mom about the robot. Our moms laughed, and Josh went home. My mom and I ate dinner, and then I went to bed. I didn't stay in bed for long before I crept out and decided that, due to the day's events, I would revisit the envelope since now the whole affair seemed much more interesting. I took the first envelope and set it on the floor, and set the blurry desert Polaroid on top. I laid the second envelope right next to it, and placed the oddly angled Polaroid of a building's top corner on top, and did this with each picture until they formed a grid that was about 5 by 10. I was always taught to be careful with things that I was collecting, even if I wasn't sure they were valuable. I noticed that the pictures gradually became more decipherable. There was a tree with a bird on it, speed limit sign, power line, a group of people walking into some building, and then I saw something that vexed me so powerfully that I can now, as I write this, distinctly remember feeling dizzy and capable of only a single repeating thought. Why am I in this picture? In this photograph of the group of people entering the building, I saw myself holding hands with my mother in the very back of the crowd of people. We were at the very edge of the photo, but it was undeniably us. And as my eyes swam over the sea of Polaroids, I became increasingly anxious. It was a really odd feeling. It wasn't fear. It wasn't the feeling you get when you're in trouble. I'm not sure why I was flooded with that feeling. It was the feeling you get when you are in trouble. I'm not sure why I was flooded with that feeling, but there I sat, floundering in that distinct sense that I had done something wrong. And this feeling only intensified as I looked on at the rest of the photos, after the one that had so powerfully struck me. I was in every photo. None of them were close shots. None of them were only of me, but I was in every single one of them. One off to the side, in the back, bottom of the frame. Some of them only had the tiniest part of my face captured at the very edge of the photo, but nevertheless, I was there. I was always there. I didn't know what to do. Your mind works in funny ways as a kid, but there was a large part of me that was afraid of getting in trouble simply for still being up. Since I already had the looming feeling of having done something wrong, I decided that I would wait until tomorrow. The next day, my mom was off work and spent most of the morning cleaning up around the house. I watched cartoons, I imagine, and waited until I thought it was a good time to show her the Polaroids. When she went out to get the mail, I grabbed a couple of the pictures and put them on the table in front of me as I sat waiting for her to come back in. When she returned, she was already opening the mail and threw some junk mail into the trash can, and I said, "Mom, can you come here for a second? I have these pictures. Just give me a minute, honey. I need to mark these on the calendar." After a minute or two, she came and stood behind me and asked what I needed. I could hear her shuffling with the mail behind me, but I just looked at the Polaroids and told her about them. As I explained more and pointed to the pictures, her frequent uh-huhs and okays decreased. She was suddenly completely quiet and only making a little noise with the mail. The next noise I heard from her sounded as if she was trying to catch her breath in a room that had no air left in it. Can you shut the fuck up? At last, her struggling gasps were conquered, and she simply dropped the remaining mail on the table and ran to the kitchen to get the phone. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know about these. Don't be mad at me." With the phone pressed to her ear, she was walking/running back and forth and shouting into it. I nervously fiddled with the mail sitting next to my Polaroids. The top envelope had something sticking out of it that I thoughtlessly and anxiously pulled on until it came out. It was another Polaroid. Confused, I thought that somehow one of my Polaroids had slipped into the stack when she threw the mail down. But when I turned it and looked at it, I realized that I had not seen this one before. To my dismay, it was me, but this one was a much closer shot. I was surrounded by trees and was smiling, but it wasn't just me. I noticed Josh was there too. This was us from yesterday. I started yelling for my mom, who was still screaming in the phone. I repeatedly yelled for her until she finally responded with, "What?" And I could only think to ask, "Who are you calling?" "I'm talking to the police, honey." "But why?" I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do anything." She answered me with the response that I never understood until I was forced to revisit these events from the earliest years of my life. She grabbed the envelope off the table, and the picture of Josh and I spun and slid, landing next to the other Polaroids in front of me. She held the envelope up to my eyes, but I could only look at her and watch as all the color began draining out of her face. With tears welling up in her eyes, she said that she had to call the police because there was no postmark. Oof.
Getting creepier. For sure.
It's a fucking weirdo.
Some dude stalking kids. What the heck?
This is my least favorite. This next one is my least favorite one. I hate reading about this one because it makes me feel some type of way.
So, since there's 3 of us here and there's 6 parts, do you want each of us to read 2?
Yeah, we could do that.
Just to make it easier?
Yeah.
And
we could absolutely do that.
I think that'd be fun.
Okay. Do you want to go next or do you want Alan to go next?
Sure, I'll go next, since I already have it pulled up right here.
He has it pulled up on his phone.
Oh, yeah, I got it pulled up.
Alan, do you want to go? You want me to read
No,
it?
you can go ahead.
Sure. Okay.
He's like, I don't want to read.
I don't want to
I don't want to read the creepy.
Well, I'm a grown ass man with also a gun owner, and I'm like,
Bro's, he's like,
I'm
the literal
fire crown clown.
Crown.
Come up.
It's a fucking crown.
Yeah.
Hello.
The clown comes up.
So, what is your opinions on that second part?
It's definitely escalating.
Yeah.
it is escalating.
50 Polaroids though, and now the clearest one.
Yeah.
You know,
Is of you and your best friend.
well up close, like
Yeah,
not even
like
close.
in
It
the
so it
fucking
makes me,
bushes.
Well, it makes me And this is while they were
And
doing
now he feels
snow
like he's
cone
being
stands.
watched.
No, this wasn't the snow cone stand. This was when they were playing in the ditch.
That's right. Okay, that's right. I missed that detail. Yeah, but dude, 50 Polaroids. So this dude's been
I can imagine being the mother. Not having like someone else there. With
Oh yeah, that would fucking suck.
Well,
no wonder she's
Like as a
being
single
so-
mom is
as
like,
a single
holy
mom.
shit.
Well, at least she's being so cautious, though. That's good. I wonder what this. It's only gonna escalate.
Dude, we're like,
Gonna
ooh, so scary.
All right,
So 3 grown ass men. Just
All right.
like
3 grown-ass men be like, can you bring out a cord perhaps before we continue? Can you bring out like an extension cord or something? I need to plug my computer in.
oh, okay.
Is it- please?
Please. You have to make sure that the fucking sliding glass door was locked.
Alan's gonna next time we come over. There's gonna be blinds or curtains up.
There, what, dude? I need to grab curtains because
You really
that's
do.
weird.
You really do, because like I feel like people could literally just peer in.
Yeah.
I mean, they could, but
Literally.
they could. Okay.
Dude, what do we?
All right. Are we ready
Yeah.
for 3?
Yeah,
Part
yeah,
three?
yeah.
This is called boxes. Okay. For those of you who have read my other stories and asked if there was more and received cryptic answers from me, I want to apologize for being dishonest. I said several times in the comments that nothing really happened after footsteps, but that wasn't true. The events of the following story weren't locked away in the recesses of my mind. I've always remembered them.
So this is all like just fiction, right?
Yeah.
That's why he's like,
But he's
ooh, they're
writing
eating it up.
But he's
so they're
writing
gonna make
it
more.
as if it's fact.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
going to r/nosleep like he's like, I need help. He's like, guys, I don't know what the fuck to do with this information. I just gotta put it somewhere.
I've always remembered them. It wasn't until I remembered balloons and spoke with my mother about the following events that I realized how intertwined this story was with everything else. But I originally hadn't really planned on sharing this anyway. My desire to withhold this memory was due mostly to the fact that I don't think I showed good judgment in it. I also wanted consent from another person to tell it, so as to not misrepresent what transpired. I didn't expect there to be a lot of interest in my other stories, so I never thought I'd really get pressed for more details. And I would have been happy. And I would have been happy to try to keep this to myself for the rest of my life. I haven't been able to reach the other party, but I would feel disingenuous with withholding the story from those who wanted more information now that I've spoken with my mother and another connecting line has been drawn. What follows is as accurate as a recollection as I could manage. I apologize for the length.
He does that a lot. Sorry, it's long.
Sorry. Goodbye. Anyway.
Get through it.
Alright, here we go.
That's what he says.
I spent the summer before my first year of elementary school learning how to climb trees. There was one particular pine tree right outside my house that seemed almost designed for me. It had branches that were so low I could easily grab them without a boost. And for the first couple of days after I first learned how to pull myself up, I would just sit on the lowest branch, dangling my feet.
Who's got a PS4?
It's my Mac.
Oh.
I was on the first step. Dangling my feet. The tree was outside our back fence and was easily visible from the kitchen window,
God
which was just above.
damn, bro, like really.
Scary.
Did you leave your armadillo in the front?
Huh?
Did you leave your armadillo on
My armadillo. What armadillo?
your level? There's just one filling in the backyard.
There's an armadillo?
There was. It was like,
Oh.
well, like, that was only a year ago.
Gosh, that would be something else. An armadillo. Anyway,
Armadillo.
sorry, sidetracked. Anyway,
That's kind of funny though.
it was funny. It had branches that were so low I could easily grab them without a boost.
You already read
first
that.
couple of days. I know. The first couple of days after I first learned how to pull myself up, I would just sit on the lowest branch, dangling my feet. The tree was outside our back fence and was easily visible from the kitchen window, which was just above the sink. Before too long, my mother and I developed a routine where I would go play on the tree when she washed the dishes because she could easily see me while she did other things. As the summer passed, my abilities grew, and before too long I was climbing fairly high. As the tree got taller, its branches not only got thinner, but more widely spaced. I eventually reached a point where I couldn't actually climb any higher, and so the game had to change. I began to concentrate on speed, and in the end I could reach my highest branch in 25 seconds.
Weird flex, but okay.
I got too confident, and one afternoon I tried to step from the branch before I had firmly grasped the next one. I fell about 20 feet and broke my arm really badly in 2 places. My mom was running toward me, yelling, and I remember her sounding like she was underwater. I don't remember what she said, but I do remember being surprised by just how white my bone was.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to start kindergarten with a cast and wouldn't even have any friends to sign it. My mom must have felt terrible because the day before I started school, she brought home a kitten. He was just, excuse me. He was just a baby and was striped with tan and white. As soon as she put him down, he crawled into an empty case of soda that was sitting on the floor. I named him Boxes.
Okay, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm
After
like
today.
now I'm really like, oh fuck.
After today.
I forgot the description of the cat. So I need to preface by saying this. I had a really rough day today with the cat that I have because originally I thought that I owned the cat, and then the guy that actually owned it posted something and was like, yo, I would like my cat back. Not like in a mean way. They were just like, the cat's been missing. We want to know where it's at and we want it back. So I was very sad and upset. Not at him, just kind of at the circumstance. And so I was going to return her, and then he was like, yo, you could just keep the damn cat, to be honest. I got too many animals. And I was like, all right, cool. So cat's mine. But it's been a day of emotional roller coaster. So might be like, oh fuck.
Boxes wasn't. Sorry, going from that back into this. It's just like we're just like
wow.
So,
Anyways, story.
okay. Back to the story. Okay, I named him Boxes. Boxes was only an outside cat when he escaped. My mom had him declawed so he wouldn't destroy the furniture.
Oh,
So as a result,
I'll be right back.
we better not pick up what I think we're gonna pick up.
Oh gosh, so as a result, we did our best to keep him inside. He'd get out every now and then, and we'd find him somewhere in the backyard chasing some kind of a bug or lizard, though we could hardly ever catch one because he had no front claws. He was pretty evasive, but we'd always catch him and carry him back inside. He'd scramble to look back over my shoulder. I told my mom that it was because he was planning his strategy for next time. Once inside, we'd give him some tuna fish. When he came to learn what the sound of the can opener might signal, he'd come running whenever he heard it. This conditioning came in handy later because toward the end of our time in that house, Boxes would get out much more often and would run under the house into the crawl space where neither of us wanted to follow because it was cramped and probably crawling with bugs and rodents. Ingenuously, my mom thought to hook the can opener to an extension cord out back and run it right outside the hole that Boxes had gone through. Eventually, he would emerge with his loud meows, looking excited by the sound, and then horrified at how we could run such a cruel ruse on him. A can opener with no tuna made no sense to Boxes. The last time he escaped to under the house was actually our last day in it. My mom had put the house on the market, and we had begun packing our things. We didn't have much, and we stretched the packing out a while, though I had already packed up all of my clothes at my mom's request. My mom could tell I was really sad about moving, and wanted the transition to be smooth for me. And I guess she thought that having my clothes in a box would reinforce the idea that we were moving, but things wouldn't change that much. When Boxes got out, we were loading some things into the moving van. My mom cursed because she had already packed the can opener and wasn't sure where it was. I pretended to go look for it so I wouldn't have to go under the house, and my mom, probably completely aware of my little scam, moved one of the panels and crawled in. She came out with Boxes pretty quickly and seemed pretty unnerved, which made me feel even better about getting out of it. My mom made some phone calls while I packed a little more.
Might want to just stop for a second.
She came out with Boxes pretty quickly and seemed pretty unnerved, which made me feel even better about getting out of it. My mom made some phone calls while I packed a little more, and then she came into my room and told me that she had spoken to the realtor and we were going to start moving into the other house that day. She said it like it was excellent news, but I had thought we had more time in the house. She originally said that we weren't moving until the end of the next week, and it was only Tuesday. What's more, we weren't completely finished packing. My mom said sometimes it was just easier to replace things and pack them and haul them all over the city. I didn't even get to grab the rest of my boxed clothes. I asked if I could call Josh to say bye, but she said that we could just call him from our new house. We left in the moving van. I managed to stay in touch with Josh for years, which is surprising since we no longer went to the same school. Our parents weren't close friends, but they knew that we were, and so they would accommodate our desire to see one another by driving us back and forth for sleepovers, sometimes every weekend. For Christmas, one year our parents even pulled their money and got us some really nice walkie-talkies that were advertised to work across a range that extended past the distance between our houses. They also had batteries that could last for days if the walkie-talkie was on but not used. They would only occasionally work well enough that we could talk across the city. But when we stayed over, we'd use them around the house, talking in mock radio speak that we had taken from the movies. And they worked great for that. Thanks to our parents, we were still friends when we were 10. One weekend, I was staying over at Josh's, and my mom called me to say goodnight. She was still pretty watchful, even when she couldn't actually watch me. But I had gotten so used to it that I didn't even notice it. Even if Josh did, she sounded upset. Boxes was missing. This must have been a Saturday night, because I had spent the night at Josh's the previous night and was going to go home the next day because we had school on Monday. Boxes had been missing since Friday afternoon. I gathered that she had not seen him since returning home after dropping me off. She must have decided to tell me he was missing because if he didn't come home before I did, then I would be devastated at not only his absence, but how she could have kept it from me. She told me not to worry. He'll come back. He always does. The box didn't come back. 3 weekends later, I stayed at Josh's again. I'm still upset about boxes, but my mom told me that there had been many times when pets had disappeared from home for weeks or even months, only to return on their own. She said they always knew where home was and would always try to get back. I was explaining this to Josh when a thought hit me so hard that I interrupted my own sentence to say it out loud. What if Boxes thought of the wrong home? Josh was confused. What? He lives with you. He knows where his home is. But he grew up somewhere else, Josh. He was raised in my old house a couple of neighborhoods away. Maybe he still thinks of that place as home, like I do. Oh, I get it. Well, that'd be great. We'll tell my dad tomorrow and he'll take us over there so we can look. No, he won't. My mom said that we could never go back to that place because the new owners wouldn't want to be bothered. She said that she told your mom and dad the same thing. Josh persisted. Okay then, we'll just go out exploring tomorrow and make our way to your old house. No, if we get spotted, your dad will find out and then so will my mom. We have to go there ourselves. We have to go there tonight. It doesn't take that much convincing to get Josh on board since he was usually the one to come up with ideas like this. But we had never snuck out of his house before. It actually turned out to be incredibly easy. The window in his room opened to the backyard, and he had a latched wooden fence that wasn't locked. After those two minor hurdles, we slipped off into the night, flashlight and walkie-talkies in hand. There were 2 ways to get from Josh's house to my old house. We could walk on the street and make all the turns, or go through the woods, which would take about half the time. It would have taken about 2 hours to walk there, taking the street, but I suggested that we go that way anyway. I told him it was because I didn't want to get lost. Josh refused and said that if we were seen, they might recognize him and tell his dad. He threatened to go home if we didn't just take the shortcut, and I accepted it because I didn't want to go by myself. Josh knew that the last time I walked through these woods at night, the woods were much less creepy with a friend and a flashlight, and we were making pretty good time. I wasn't entirely sure where we were, but Josh seemed confident enough, and that bolstered my morale. We passed through a particularly thick patch of tangled trees when the strap on my walkie-talkie got caught on a branch. Josh had the flashlight, so I was struggling to get the walkie-talkie free when I heard Josh say, "Hey man, want to go for a swim?" I looked over to where he was shining the flashlight, though I closed my eyes as I did because I now knew where we were. He was pointing at the pool float. This is where I had woken up in these woods all those years ago. Oh fuck. I felt a lump in my throat, and the sting of fresh tears in my eyes as I continued to struggle with the walkie. Frustrated, I yanked on it hard enough to break it free, and I turned and walked to Josh, who had partially laid down on the pool float in a mock sunbathing pose. As I walked toward him, I stumbled, and and nearly fell into a fairly large hole that was sitting in the middle of this small clearing. But I regained my balance and stopped right at its edge. It was deep. I was surprised by the size of the hole, but more surprised by the fact that I didn't remember it. I realized it must not have been there that night because it was in the same spot where I had awoken. I put it out of my mind and turned to Josh. "Quit messing around, man. You saw I was stuck over there. And you were just laying here joking around on this float." I punctuated the sentence with a kick to an exposed part of the float. A screeching rose from it. Josh's smile inverted. He suddenly looked terrified and was struggling to get off the float. But he couldn't in a quick manner due to the awkward way he had been laying on it. Each time he would fall back on the float, the screeching would intensify. I wanted to help Josh, but I couldn't move myself any closer. My legs wouldn't cooperate. I hated these woods. I picked up the flashlight that he had thrown in his thrashing and shined in on the float, not knowing what to expect. Finally, Josh got off the float and rushed next to me. Looking at where I was shining the light, suddenly, there it was. It was a rat. I started laughing nervously, and we both watched the rat run into the woods, taking the screeches with it. Josh lightly punched me in the arm, the smile slowly returning to his face, and we continued walking. We quickened our pace and made it out of the woods faster than we thought we would, and we found ourselves back in my old neighborhood. The last time I had rounded the bend ahead, I had seen my house fully illuminated, and all the memories of what transpired came flooding back. I felt a skipping in my heart as we were finally turning the corner and about to face the full view of my house, remembering last time how incandescent it was. But this time all the lights were off. From a distance I could see my old climbing tree, and as my mind traced the steps of causality.
Yeah, fuck.
The steps of causality backward, I realized that I wouldn't be here this night if that tree hadn't grown, and I was briefly in awe of how all events were like that. As we got closer, I could see that the lawn looked terrible. I couldn't even guess where it had, or when it had been mowed. One of the shutters had partially broken loose and was rocking back and forth in the breeze, and all over the house just looked dirty. It was sad to see my old home in such a state of disrepair. Why would my mom care if we bothered the new owners if they cared so little about where they lived? And then I realized there were no new owners. The house was abandoned, though it looked simply forsaken. Why would my mom lie to me about our house having new people in it? But I thought that this was actually a good thing. It would be easier to look around for boxes if we didn't have to worry about being spotted by the new family. This would make it much quicker. Josh interrupted my thoughts as we walked through the gate and up to the house itself. "Your old house sucks, dude," Josh yelled as quietly as he could. "Shut up, Josh. Even like this, it's still nicer than your house." "Hey, man." Okay. I think boxes is probably under the house. One of us has got to go under and look. But the other should stay next to the opening in case he comes running out. "Are you serious? There's no way I'm going under there. It's your cat, man. You do it." "Look, I'll game you for it, unless you're too scared," I said, holding my fist over my upturned palm. Fine, but we go on shoot, not on 3. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot, not on 1, 2, 3. "I know how to play the game, Josh. You're the one who always messes up, and it's 2 out of 3. I lost." I wiggled loose the panel that my mom would always move when she had to crawl under here for boxes. She only had to do it a couple of times since the can opener trick usually worked, but when she had to do it, she hated it, especially that last time. And as I looked into the darkness of the crawl space, I had a greater appreciation for why. Because before we moved, she said that it was actually better that boxes ran under here, despite how hard it could be to get him out. It was less dangerous than him jumping over the fence and running around the neighborhood. All that was true, and I was still dreading doing this. I grabbed the flashlight and the walkie and began to crawl in. A powerful smell overtook me. It smelled like death. I turned on my walkie. "Josh, are you there? This is Macho Man. Come back." "Josh, cut it out. There's something wrong down here." "What do you mean?" "It stinks. It smells like something died." Is it boxes? I really hope not. I set down the walkie and moved the flashlight around as I crawled forward. Looking through the hole from the outside, you could see all the way back with the right lighting, but you had to be inside to see around the support blocks that held the house up. I'd say there was about 40% of the area that you couldn't see unless you were actually in the crawl space. But even inside, I discovered that I could only see directly where the flashlight was pointing. I realized that this would make scouting around the place much more difficult. As I moved forward, the smell intensified. Fear was growing in me that boxes had come here and something had happened to them. I shined the flashlight around and couldn't see much of anything. I wrapped my fingers around a support block to pull myself forward, and as I did that, I felt something that made my hand recoil. Fur. My heart sank, and I prepared myself emotionally for what I was about to see. I crawled slowly so I could prolong what I knew was coming, and I inched my eyes in the flashlight past the block to see what was on the other side. I staggered back in horror. Jesus Christ! Escaped my trembling mouth. It was a hideous and twisted creature, badly decomposed. Its skin had rotted away on its face, so the teeth appeared to be enormous, and the smell was unbearable. What is it? Are you okay? Is it boxes? I reached for the walkie. No, it's not boxes. But what the hell is it then? I don't know. I shined the light on it again and looked at it with less fear in my vision. I chuckled. It's a raccoon. Well, keep looking. I'm gonna go into the house and see if he might have made it in there somehow. What? No, Josh, don't go in there. What if Boxes is down here and runs out? He can't. I put the board back. I looked and saw that he was telling the truth. Why'd you do that? Don't worry, man. You can move it easy. This makes more sense. If Boxes ran out and I missed him, then he'd be gone. If he's down there, then grab him tight and I'll come move the board. And if he's not, then you can move it yourself while I look in the house. Some of his points were good, and I doubted he'd be able to get in anyway. Okay, but be careful and don't touch anything. There's a bunch of my old clothes still in boxes in my room. You can look in there to see if he crawled in one. And make sure to bring your walkie. Roger that. Good buddy. I realized that it would be pitch black in there. The power would have been turned off since no one was paying the bill. With any luck, he'd be able to see from the street lights that might cast some light inside. Otherwise, I'm not sure what he'd do. Before too long, I heard footsteps right over my head. I felt old dirt raining down on me. Josh, is that you? Shh! Breaker. This is Macho Man coming back for the Big Tango Foxtrot. The Eagle has landed. What's your 20? Princess Jasmine? Over? Asshole. Macho Man, my 20 is in your bathroom looking at your stash of magazines. Looks like you've got a thing for dudes' butts. What's the report on that? Over? I could hear him laughing without the walkie, and I started laughing too. I heard the footsteps fade away a little. He was on his way to my room. Man, it's dark in here. Hey, are you sure you had boxes of clothes in here? I don't see any. Yeah, there should be a couple boxes in front of the closet. There aren't any boxes in here. Let me check to see if you maybe put the boxes in the closet before you left. I started thinking that maybe my mom had come back and gotten the clothes and just given them away because I had outgrown a lot of them. But I remembered leaving the boxes there. I didn't even have time to close the last one up before we left. While I was waiting for Josh to tell me what he'd found, I kicked out my leg, which had started falling asleep because of the position I was in, and it hit something. I looked back and saw something really strange. It was a blanket, and all around it, there were bowls. I crawled a little closer to it. The blanket smelled moldy. Most of the bowls were empty, but one had something that I recognized still in it. Cat food. It was a different kind than we gave to Boxes, but I suddenly understood. My mother had set up a little place for Boxes to encourage him to come here instead of running around the neighborhood. It made a lot of sense, and it seemed even more likely that Boxes would have come back to this place. That's so cool, Mom, I thought. I found your clothes. Oh, cool. Where were the boxes? Like I said, there are no boxes. Your clothes are in your closet. They're hanging up. I felt a chill. This was impossible. I had packed all of my clothes, even though we weren't supposed to move for another 2 weeks when we left. I remember packing them and thinking it was stupid for me to have to get my clothes out of the box and put them back in. I had packed them, but someone had pulled them back up. Why though? Josh needed to get out of there. That can't be right, Josh. They're supposed to be in boxes. Stop messing around and just come back outside. No joke, man. I'm looking at them. Maybe you just thought that you left them. Wow. You sure like to look at yourself, don't you? What? What do you mean? Your walls, man. Your walls are covered in Polaroids of yourself. There are hundreds of them. What did you hire someone to... Silence. Fuck. I checked my walkie to see if I had switched it off somehow. It was fine. I could hear footsteps, but couldn't tell exactly where Josh was going. I waited for Josh to finish his sentence, thinking that his finger had just slipped off the button, but he didn't continue. He seemed to be stomping around the house now. I was just about to radio him when he came back. There's someone in the house. His voice was hushed and broken. I could hear he was on the verge of tears. I wanted to respond, but how loud was his walkie turned out? What if the other person heard it? I said nothing and just waited and listened. What I heard were footsteps, heavy, dragging footsteps, and then a loud thud. Oh my God, Josh. He had been found. I was sure of it. This person had found him and was hurting him. Broke out in tears. He was my only friend, next to boxes. And then I realized, what if Josh told him I was under here? What could I possibly do, as I struggled to compose myself? I thankfully heard Josh's voice through the walkie. He's got something, man. It's a big bag. He just threw it on the floor. Oh God, man, the bag. I think it just moved. I was paralyzed. I wanted to run home. I wanted to save Josh. I wanted to go for help. I wanted so many things, but I just lay there, frozen. Where I lay unable to move, my eyes focused on the corner of the house that was right under my room. I moved my flashlight. My breath hitched at what I saw. Animals. Dozens of them. All of them dead. They lay in piles all around the perimeter of the crawl space. Could boxes be among these corpses? Was this what the cat food was for? Seeing this broke my shock, as I knew I had to get out of there, and I scrambled to the board. Pushed on it, but it wouldn't budge. I couldn't move it because it was wedged in there, and I couldn't get my fingers around it since the edges were outside. I was trapped. Damn you, Josh, I whispered to myself. I could feel thunderous footsteps above me. The house was shaking. I heard Josh scream. It was matched by another scream that wasn't full of fear. As I continued pushing, I felt the board move, but I knew it wasn't me who was moving it. I could hear footsteps above me, in front of me, and shouting and screaming filled the brief silences between the footsteps. I moved back and held my walkie ready to try to defend myself, when the board was thrown to the side, and an arm shot in and grabbed for me. "Let's go, man, now!" It was Josh. Thank God. I scrambled out of the opening, holding the flashlight and the walkie, and when we got to the fence, we both jumped it. But Josh's walkie fell. He reached for it, and I told him to forget it. We had to move. Behind us, I could hear yelling, though they weren't words, only sounds. And we, perhaps foolishly, ran for the woods to get back to Josh's quicker and be somewhat harder to follow. The whole way through the woods, Josh kept yelling, "My picture! He took my picture!" But I knew the man already had Josh's picture from all those years ago at the ditch. I suppose Josh still thought those mechanical sounds were from a robot. This is so quick. We made it back to Josh's house and back into his room before his parents woke up. I asked him about the big bag and if it really moved, and he said he couldn't be sure. We kept apologizing about dropping the walkie at the house, but obviously that wasn't a big deal. We didn't go to sleep and sat peering out the window waiting for him. I went home later that day, as it was about 3 a.m. already. I told my mom the basics of this story a couple of days ago. She broke down and was furious about the danger I put myself in. I asked her why she made all those things up about bothering the new owners to stop me from going. Why did she think the house was so dangerous? She became irate and hysterical, but she answered my question. She grabbed my hand and squeezed it harder than I thought her capable of, and locked her eyes to mine, whispering as if she was afraid of being overheard. because I never put any fucking blankets or bowls under the house for boxes.
We snow.
You weren't the only one to find them. I felt dizzy. I understand so much now. I understand why she had looked so uneasy after she brought boxes out from under the house on our last day there. She found more than spiders or a rat's nest that day. I understood why we left almost 2 weeks early. I understood why she tried to stop me from going back. She knew. She knew he made his home under ours, and she kept it from me. I left without saying another word and didn't finish the story for her, but I would like to finish it here, for you. I got home from Josh's that day, and threw my stuff on the floor and scattered everywhere. I didn't care. I just wanted to sleep. I woke up around 9 p.m. to the sound of boxes meow. My heart leapt. He had finally come home. I was a little sick about the fact that if I had just waited a day, none of the previous night's events would have happened and I'd have boxes anyway. That didn't matter. He was back. I got off my bed and called for him, looking around to catch a glint of light off his eyes. Crying continued and I followed it. It was coming from under the bed. I laughed a little, thinking I had just crawled under a house looking for him, and how this was so much better. His meows were being muffled by a shirt, so I flung it aside and he smiled, yelling, "Welcome home, Boxes." His cries were coming from my walkie-talkie. Boxes never came home.
Fuck! God damn!
Scheiße.
Fellas. Boxes, how do we feel about that?
I don't like that. I do not like.
Me no likey.
I love pets. I love animals so much, and I've had cats and dogs my whole life growing up, and ferrets and other things like that. And it's just I have a deep love for things like that, and like when people hurt those things, it just hurts my stomach.
It's evil.
Alan, your opinion, sir. He's fucking gobsmacked. He doesn't know what to say.
I couldn't imagine someone doing those to my puppies.
There's 3 more parts.
We're not even halfway. Are we gonna do it all tonight?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Yeah,
I mean,
we can
Dr. Reed,
yeah.
this next one, and then
The
you
next
have
part
your
is
2.
4, and then the last 2 is you.
Maybe they're shorter though. I don't know. Hopefully. What time is it? Oh, it's almost midnight already, dude. All right.
God damn!
We don't have to finish it tonight. We have
Yeah.
3 more parts. We can split it into next.
Let's do it next
Let's
week.
do that. Okay.
But let's kind of talk about how we feel about all 3 parts, the 3 parts that we've read.
Yeah.
You can kind of see why now I was kind of dreading part 3.
Yeah.
Because cool.
Who the hell is this guy? Who is this guy?
I can't spoil the story for you, bro.
Yeah.
Because some really fucky shit happens in the final part, and you'll be like, God damn. It sucks.
We snow.
We snow. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, can you imagine being like a young kid and this person is like infatuated with you and you don't really realize what the fuck is going on?
What's creepy for me is like I was visualizing it when you were reading it for sure, but whenever I started reading it, I was like becoming more immersed into it.
Yeah.
Just for reading it, and I was just seeing in my mind of like what I've seen in previous horror movies of things like when two people are talking like on the phone or wherever, and then it's just dead silence.
It's fucking
Like
scary.
that right there, that anticipation for me was like holy thing.
The ending is always what gets me on that third part
That is
specifically. It's
boxes.
always like, well, it's like, oh, I'm so excited to see you. Oh, fuck. I've been
It's the
set up.
It's the walkie-talkie.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit. So, like, it makes me wonder, it almost makes me curious, was Boxes in the bag?
Yeah.
Was Boxes in the bag, or was he just fucking there?
Yeah.
And bro snatched her, like...
What creeped me out is when I read he made his house under ours,
That is scary.
and we had no idea. And I was,
Fuck.
that's like, because I've read stories before of people like buying a house before, and it has like a secret like door, like
That's-
behind,
and someone's
behind a
and
cabinet,
living in
and
the
somebody's
walls.
living in the walls, yeah, or something. That's so horrifying to think about.
walls. They're in the fucking walls.
But imagine that though.
Dude, that's
Like,
scary.
not knowing that would be so horrifying.
But can you imagine, like go back to footsteps, right?
Mhm.
It sounds like under the house.
Mhm.
Sounds like there's like people walking under the house.
This is the guy.
That's the fucking dude.
Yeah, it is.
those
Yeah, but
footsteps are
now-
real.
Yeah, the crazy thing is the dude hung up all of his clothes. But why? Why would he hang up all the clothes?
Maybe-
That there's a really good explanation for that.
Is that
I
something
can't tell you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay.
It's kind of like once you finish it, everything kind of.
Is he
all the puzzle pieces
infatuated
come
with like
together.
creating his own family or something?
No.
Let's
No.
not speculate because I don't want him to be.
I don't know.
I can't-
I really want to read more,
I do too.
but it's so fucking long.
yeah, but it's
It's
yeah.
a scary story. This is like
Oh, let me see on the maps.
I heard.
But in
maps
my
is the
opinion-
longest part. By
Long-
far.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's
just
long
and
as shit.
going.
In my opinion,
But part 5 is really fucked up too. Like it's pretty
It's
fucked.
not quite as long as I thought. It is still
scary
long.
stories that are grounded in reality are the worst ones.
Yeah,
But yeah, when I was like, oh, it has nothing to do with supernatural, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I can handle that.
yeah. And then we're like,
But like scary stories, I can't do like paranormal movies though.
Yeah.
Paranormal movies, no. Like, at least if I watch like a movie about like intruders or something, I'm like, ah.
Watch fucking Us.
But
And
if I listen to a scary story and it's like grounded in reality and we're just talking here, someone could just like open the door.
see, natural things like that, like hearing a door open or whatever, like that.
Yeah,
when
and
you
then-
read something like this, it makes you like you're so attentive.
well, like when the fucking the ice maker went off,
yeah, dude.
I literally had to make a joke to make myself feel better.
yeah, you're.
I was like, shut the fuck up. It's so funny to me.
yeah,
But
seriously.
I take back my statement on the reality ones being worse. Because if this had paranormal stuff,
I don't know.
I'd
There's been
be
times-
scared
Have
actually.
you guys ever,
Never mind.
like, even to
I
this
took it
day,
back.
sometimes, like, I'll watch something, or, like, even, like, at times, like, if I do a Bible study on my own or something like that, and it's, like, talking about, like, demons or something like that, or I watch a movie that has to do something like that, and I try to go to sleep
Can't
after
do it.
praying, I'm, like, trying to fall asleep, and I feel like my mind
Like
starts
something's watching you.
hearing things
Yeah.
that are either not actually happening, or they're like it's just people above me in the door doing something.
And it's just your brain trying to do
Yeah,
something.
It's
Like,
trying to be like, aha, ha.
your brain is the worst. Is your worst enemy.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's not even like in the context of like fear either. It's like stress and anxiety. Fucking worst things ever. Sometimes it's like, man,
Self-induced.
it's always
You don't even realize it.
Well, like you make it more complicated in your mind, and it's like
I think it's
really
part of the
not that
fight or
bad.
flight like reflex.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely that. It's the fear of the unknown,
Yes.
and your brain is trying to put an explanation to
Yeah,
it,
it's trying to.
whether or not it makes it better or worse. So like, it's
Like-
just trying to like, ooh, what's that shadow? Is it a demon? Ooh, is it this? Ooh, is it that? Ooh.
Yeah. What can
Regardless, like it's not thinking about your like fear. It's like,
yeah. What
ooh,
can,
maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Maybe
what
it's
can
this.
I like put a like a picture to?
Yeah,
Like what
Yeah.
can I do to explain that?
And do you guys know like the Uncanny Valley stuff?
yeah.
There's an actual evolutionary explanation to that. I used to be a biology major. So, anyways, so the explanation, not explanation, but like the theory to that is we developed that from us going up against a different subspecies of human. Like there were us, the Homo sapiens, and then there was this other one. I totally forgot what they were. But they were different. They looked like us, but it's those different, those skulls
Yeah,
that they have. Like it looked like us. They look like us, but like their faces
more
were like a little
Neanderthal.
more Neanderthal. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Like the bigger eye sockets and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
jaws.
and that's where they think it developed from, was from us fighting them for so long, either fighting them or just trying to like, ooh, that's an enemy, that's a bad guy, immediately like, and that's where
so it
Uncanny
goes to show humans have always been racist.
Yes.
This is true.
But the other thing is, they think that we also intermingled with them because there's like Neanderthal blood still in people.
Did you know that Sean Schimmel has the most Neanderthal DNA like out of a person?
That's actually really
In the world.
funny. That's so
hilarious.
funny.
Goku, monkeys. And he's got
man.
Take that out of context. We're fucked. We're getting canceled.
What can I say?
Sean Schumel's blood. Just kidding.
Believe
Believe that.
He's gonna comment, not true.
Sean Schulman's gonna come and be like, "How dare you? How dare you
You're like,
speak on?
hey,
Fuck
we're
you!"
gonna spam the box or the comment section.
But anyway,
See, like my neighbor's light just turned on. The motion one,
Yeah.
and that turned on. Maybe it's my neighbor just bringing in like some good old
Something
pumpkin
normal.
pie.
the most
What
innocent
if it's
thing.
so? What if it's? And then my brain
Somebody's
just
trying to
went,
rob them.
"Oh, someone's just trying to." Yeah, it's just.
Dude,
Am I gonna be like watching something? Am
the
I-
reason why this story scares me, like I know the ending, but the reason why it scares me is because it's like that's some shit that could happen
to
like
any of them.
at any time,
It
anywhere.
has happened. Like legit things
Yeah.
like that. This have happened.
Now I don't know if
Up
it's
to this
gone to
point.
this far. Like by the ending, it doesn't go as that far. I don't think that that's happened.
No, I mean more.
But
So,
that shit is
I
scary.
mean, as of what he and I know, as
Yeah.
of now, these first 3 parts of people taking pictures of people.
Yeah, that
That's
happens.
of course.
That happens a lot.
People stalking, of course, that happens every day. People living in houses and like doing things like that and stalking and doing really creepy things.
The walls. Oh god, they're in the trees.
Dude, there's this movie. What was it? I watched. Do you know who Foundflix is on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy. Horror movie review guy. I've watched him for years, and there's one movie that I watched a movie review a little while back, but it was like about this spider girl that was living in the walls and like it was her parents, like, and it's her brother, but like it was his older sister, and they like never explained what happened to her, but she's been living in the walls this entire time. I think it's called Arachnid or something like that.
They don't talk about prunes.
That's really funny. Because actually, he was living.
He
in the
was
walls.
living in the walls.
That's like a legit thing.
I forgot about that actually.
Like
Yeah.
in that context, it's like comedic, but it's like
Oh.
you can only imagine. Like you're like, oh, this person isn't with us anymore, And then all of a sudden, he's like, the fucking
the
walls.
kid, the son, her brother starts hearing a voice in his room late at night, and
Oh,
she's
shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
like, I just saw there's lights behind your. That's right now.
That's not scary, but you made it scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
yeah. There's lights behind you.
He's right behind you, isn't he? Like,
Oh my gosh.
Jason's just like,
he just,
hey guys.
dude. If fucking Jack pulled up in the Michael Myers outfit, I would
Dude,
beat
bro,
his ass,
He'd be Swiss cheese.
dude. Yeah,
He would be Swiss cheese.
Okay.
yeah. He's not fucking playing.
He's like
No.
physical.
Yeah,
He's
he
like-
would be Swiss cheese.
From
That's
the-
why. That's why I keep telling you guys. If you guys want to, don't scare me here.
Yeah.
Never scare me at my house
Yeah.
because it will be bad. It will be very bad. However, I'm not just gonna go like willy nilly like shooting someone
He
if
will-
I just hear a noise.
he'll investigate
Because
first.
Edna and Itzel, they tried scaring me the other day. There was like I was like playing. I was
motherfucker.
I was watching a
Damn.
movie, but it was like I'm not. It was probably like
That was a little
Ratatouille.
spooky. I don't even know what that was.
Wow! Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, the
I'm
big
scared.
little girl video where she's like, "So today I'm gonna." Oh, I don't know what that was.
I'm scared.
I'm
guys.
scared, guys.
What was that?
What was that?
But
Sorry.
but I was just
I
watching a
actually
movie,
shit
and I'm pretty
bridges.
sure it was like Ratatouille or some shit. It was something like. It was
Really lighthearted.
like yeah, it was lighthearted. I wasn't like thinking, but like all I heard was, and I'm right there. That's where my like recliner is, and I open like I look at the curtain, no one's there, and I'm like, the fuck, and I thought it was some kind of like little schmuck, some little schmuck kid. It was just
Ding
trying
dong,
to.
bitch, and you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You can't really do it here, but like, he likes it. And then I look over and I'm like, the fuck? No one's there again. And I'm like,
Somebody's
all right.
fucking with me.
And so I open the door, I turn on the lights, and I look out. And it's insane because I look, it's where the RV was, and I look at the RV, and I didn't and that's what's like kind of scary sometimes. They were filming it,
Yeah.
and I look straight at the camera. And I'm like, how the hell did I not see that? That was an actual person trying to like
You
get me. I
You're
was
fucking
cooked.
cooked.
I would have been cooked.
GG's, bro. Bro, you need to like next time you should like unload the mag and still put it in and like really just fucking motherfucker. And they like just like I'll
Start shooting blanks.
Yeah.
All right, motherfucks.
You
You
guys-
know what
Bro, have you ever seen like National Lampoon's like Christmas Vacation?
No.
Dude,
I need
there's
to.
several others like European Vacation. There's multiple movies in that series, and there's one I can't remember which one it is. I think it's just Summer Vacation or whatever. It's one of the first ones. Well, the dude takes his family to like wherever, and they are like at this like amusement park attraction type deal, and there's an old western like bar like saloon type place in there, and he walks in there and they're just talking crap to the bartender
Mhm.
that's playing the bartender. He's cleaning the glass and he's like, "Hey, Yellow Belly," he's talking all that. Well, this goes with the blanks. So the dude pulls out shotgun after because he's been like on his ass for like 5-6 minutes,
Mhm.
and he just turns around, pulls out the shotgun, the dude goes, and shoots it.
Can you imagine
He
getting
just
hit
falls
with,
down.
Can you imagine getting hit with rubber bullets though? That shit would fucking hurt, dude.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
And
fucking hurt so
gorilla.
bad.
What are they called? Gorilla.
They have a beanbag.
Beanbag. Yeah,
Shotguns.
beanbag
My mother's
guns.
been hit with one of those.
Really?
When she was doing a correction,
Mhm.
was a corrections officer. Yeah, that was part of the training. She,
Oh yeah, if you were in the military, you'd have to go through the fucking gas chamber.
my dad talked about that. That was if as long as you stay calm and you follow procedure, you're fine. But there's always people that freak out.
Yeah,
And
like
so he told me there's this young woman that was like absolutely just falling apart, and he had to literally like after he got his on was like walking her through it, like or just calm down, go ahead, do this,
get up,
and she
Get
passed. And she passed.
But yeah, anyways, back to kind of just talking about the story a little bit before we close out here. What direction do you think this is going to go?
What direction I think it's gonna go.
Yeah, how do you
Um,
think the story will end?
That's kind of hard to say because there's a whole 3 parts left to this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for like I don't want to say
Twists and turns.
but yeah, for more details and like more maybe another time jump is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about
But
that.
how would you stick the ending? Like,
Honest.
how do you think that?
Knowing what I know.
Yeah, knowing what you know now, what do you think will happen?
Well, I kind of feel like maybe the perpetrator or whoever it is maybe somebody that is close to the family. Maybe it's the kid's father or
Mhm.
something.
That's
Okay.
what I was thinking.
It's maybe it's his father, and he's trying to, like, I don't know, be around his kid in some weird, twisted
In
way.
demented way. Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just some creep or something. And I think either way,
I'd
maybe
feel like
maybe
that would be
Jim,
scarier.
but that
It was like his
father.
dad.
If it no. If it was just some guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh cool, yeah.
That
Yeah.
yeah, if it was
It's
just
like
some guy.
His dad. I think it'd be kind of scary if it was like,
Dad, why are you taking pictures?
But if it
You're
was like
being
her
a little
dad,
weird, Dad.
if it was like his dad, it'd be like, oh, there's like a reason to it. But if someone did it for absolutely no freaking reason
Well, it's 'cause they're
and no relation,
It
that
sounds
would
like,
be more terrifying.
but like
to me.
putting the context clues together from part 1 and 3, it kind of sounds like it's the guy that has been taking the Polaroids. So that
Yeah.
pen pal.
yeah.
So it's the pen pal. So
Well,
I think
I
it is a random dude.
But is shouldn't
Well, didn't
weren't the
school...
pen pals from like kids?
No.
No.
But they sent out like the balloons with
The
notes
kids
on them.
wrote the
Yeah.
initial letter.
And then it was sent out over the
PENPAL.
fucking.
Do you remember how, like, in elementary school, I don't know if you guys did this because this is maybe just an Alabama thing. You remember Flat Stanley?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys ever have to send one, like,
Yes.
to
Oh,
a family member or something?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
friend
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, it's something I think kind of like that in that regard.
Yeah, but what they did, the way that he explained it was, they fucking
Return to
tied,
sender.
they
Ooh.
fucking tied
For
notes
stamps.
to balloons and sent them off. They just like let them go
Okay,
into
that's-
the world, and then it popped, and like, somebody just found the note.
Well, maybe that's.
That's kind of spooky. Like I
Well-
think that's dangerous as shit.
Well,
by the
that's-
way, it's awful,
Yeah.
terrible design. Like
They
not,
should
not
have
the
done. They
right-
should have. They should have pen pal like other students.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not the writer that I'm like that's stupid. It'd be like if this was real, it's the teacher's fault. What a fucking moron.
Well,
You know what I'm
that-
saying?
Well, that could be believable though, because there are definitely teachers that are like that.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like after you would see the first one, it was just Polaroid, no note. I'd be like, all right, time to figure out what the fuck is going on here.
Well, I think it was weird that the teacher was like,
Kind of hesitant.
"Don't be disappointed."
Don't be disappointed. Yeah, it's
But
kind of
the
like
teacher knows there's a picture in there and had to look at the picture before putting it back.
yeah, but the first
So,
picture
like,
didn't mean anything though.
Yeah.
But what about
but
the
they
other
had, like,
50,
other-
though?
yeah.
Yeah, what about the other 50 is my question.
With him
You
in
have
it.
49 other ones that it's
With
kind of like
him
okay.
in it.
Yeah, well, and he's like
remember it said that they progressively got like cleaner.
yeah.
So the first several were all.
Yeah, but they still
stories.
went through her,
Yeah, she still had to scream them.
and she should have seen that the kid was there. She's like,
I don't know,
oh, that's
it may have
silly.
just been like she was like, oh, it's another photo, fuck, and like would just like took a little
Well, I
glance at it.
guarantee you
and
that's. I guarantee you that's what you did. Because
you better not do that.
Huh?
You better
You
not
better
do
not
that.
do that.
You better not do that.
As a teacher,
Yeah.
I'm a music teacher. I'm gonna be a music teacher.
Yeah, but who? You never know. If you see something like that, you better say something, brother.
If you see something, say something.
Say something.
Alan,
Do-do-do-do.
if there's anybody that you know that would do
Yes.
something, it would be me.
Yeah.
He does nothing. He'll just watch.
I'm just like,
Let's see how this plays out.
I'm just like,
Oh, this reminds me of a story that I heard with the boys when I was younger.
Dude,
puts
okay.
it on, listening to it. Oh yeah.
How do you think it'll end?
I think it's some guy that really wants to have a family or something. Because him putting up the clothes, him staying there, there's some
I just have a thought.
thing.
Maybe it's a sibling.
Could be a sibling.
Ooh.
Maybe it's a brother or a sister or something. But that's really the animals, though. I don't.
Yeah,
get the
that
animals.
doesn't make
I
any
don't get
sense.
the animals.
See, and then the other
The
question
animals-
Is there an explanation for the animals?
No.
Not really. Is it just some sadistic thing that he does?
At the current moment, yes. I don't think that there really is like a. I think he's just eating animals. Like I mean, in all reality, like he was just like you said, it's like a very poorly decomposed raccoon.
Yeah.
So dude was probably eating the animals, like killing them. Probably is my assumption.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, like other than like being like I hunt animals for game.
Yeah.
You know, but what else would you do with it as a person who is now living in an abandoned house?
It's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. As of right now, I think it's just some creep, but there could be different factors that could change that.
it can definitely manifest into some crazy wacky shit, and dude, you guys are gonna be blown away by the ending
Creepy.
because your guys is you guys are kind of on the right track with the ending, sort of, kind of, not like very much. There's still a lot that you're missing.
I'm
and
sure.
It's fucking like crazy. Like when you hear it, you'll kind of like.
Where'd you find this?
So I shout out to another podcast. These guys, the Creepcast with like Wendigoon and Papa Meat.
I love Wendigoon. Wendigoon's
So
awesome.
they have a podcast called Creepcast, and they read scary stories, and that's where I found this one.
Mhm.
Is they were reading this one, and I was like, oh shit, because like typically on like long drives I listen to a pod, so it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll just listen to theirs because I like horror stories during the day, because at night I want to like kill myself and they scare me. But this one was one that like stuck with me, and I was like, I listened to it one night. Mia was over, and she was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And I was like telling her about it, and she like listened to the whole thing. She wasn't really freaked out by it, and she just saw me be like, "She's like, are you okay?" She's like, the ending, bro. And she was like, "This is not scary," and I was like, "It literally is, though. It's terrifying." Like not from the aspect of like, "Oh, this is scary because the ending is scary." It's like you take everything into consideration. And you're like, "Oh, fuck."
She's like, "You're a wimp. It's
Yeah.
okay." No, I'm just,
Well,
You're like, "What is
her issue was that she only listened to like the second half,
yeah,
with me?
the full context.
so she doesn't understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, you always gotta have the full story.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to digest everything.
Well, and
Roll over.
I like scary stories. Like
Same.
I don't typically freak out. Like there's like this is the only one where I've kind of been like, oh damn, oh damn.
Yeah. See, I like listening to scary stuff more so now than I ever have before. But like Ashley's really gotten me on the horror movie trend because I never used to watch like The Conjuring and stuff like that.
Fuck that.
She's got me into all that. I've seen all the I've seen the whole entire.
The Nun is ass, by the way. The Nun was dog shit.
Both of them were.
Yeah, both of them
Both
were.
of them
Good
were.
question, by
was
the way.
Curse, so was the curse of
What
lying
the
on
fuck is up with women? Most of the women I fucking dated.
Cut that.
The fuck is up with women? No,
That's a quote, by the way. That's very quotable.
Most of the women that I fucking dated are fucking obsessed with scary movies. What the fuck is up with that? It's fucked. I don't like it. It's weird.
I think a lot of women
And my sister
may or may not.
Edna,
From my experience, a lot of women just like horror movies. I don't know why.
my sister and my mom, they like thrillers. They like watching like scary movies too.
Yeah.
But me and my dad, we're pussies. We can't do that. And we're big, burly, fucking
Men?
gorilla men.
I think the thing with scary movies is like I've ruined them for myself, so I can't I don't enjoy them. So it's not like I get scared anymore. I sit there and I'm like, huh, interesting, because now that I'm like I do editing and stuff and like I watch movie like when I watch movies I'm like, oh, that's a really cool practical effect.
Yeah.
But it's cool to me like for superhero movies because it's like, oh, that's cool. Like that's really cool. But for a horror movie, it's like, oh, that's fucking stupid.
See,
They should have done this instead, and I'm critiquing the movie instead of like watching it, and I'm like, all right, now I feel dumb.
the only thing that I don't like at times is like demonic stuff.
That's
Because
the worst thing.
That thing right there that's what kind of gets me because I remember there's one time I was watching what was it, Annabelle,
Yeah,
the first one.
that shit's real. Don't play games.
Oh yeah.
Don't play with that shit.
Yeah.
Like in all reality, like all that shit is very real, and so I'm going off on my little side tangent, but I'm kind of scared of that stuff.
Mhm.
Like I've had like not like demonic experiences, but I've had experiences with like the paranormal, and that's scary, and I don't like that. It's like, okay, cool, we can live in like peace and harmony or whatever, but
Sorry.
don't fuck with me. I believe in God. Don't touch me. I'll beat your ass with the Bible. I'll find a way. And that type of shit kind of scares me. But it's a fucking motorcycle.
I thought it was someone's stomach growling. Like
That's
honestly.
It was.
Oh.
It's like, well, no, it's somebody's car.
Anyway.
It freaked me. Sorry, that freaked me out because it's like
Yeah, no, I
we're
saw
talking about spirits.
That's what I was talking about. Like things like you're much more attentive because your senses are heightened.
I think
you're
our
on
senses
edge.
are also heightened because of the fucking thing that we had to do for acting today.
Yeah.
that shit made me feel gross.
Yeah. Now tell me what your insides feel like from the inside. I was like,
Please, buy me a drink first, quit.
stop! Don't say
Sorry.
names on the pod.
Sorry.
Oh my! You gotta bleep that. You gotta bleep the name. You gotta bleep the name.
That's so fucking funny. You're cooking us here.
I would laugh.
You're destroying
Oh,
us.
speaking of, I want to let's talk about something more lighthearted because
He said before I go to bed, I need
Before I
something
go to
that doesn't
bed.
break my mind.
and I also don't want to take melatonin because melatonin sometimes like it puts you to sleep, but it fucks with your like dreams.
Yeah, it fucks with your brain.
And if I have an active dream, okay, so
Are you serious? It messes with your dreams?
yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah,
This
it
is what your
fucks
dreams
with
I
if
don't
you have
really
enough.
take it.
I don't either, but there's a study, I think, somewhere. I'll find it because I don't want to be wrong. Melatonin.
We're still live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I want to end on like something light.
So melatonin can have a variety of effects on the brain, including learning and memory problems, cognitive function, stress response.
I can tell you from personal experience. Whenever I was taking a ton of melatonin, like 2 years ago, like to go to sleep almost every other night because I was struggling, and yeah, with a lot of different things. Yeah.
Holy shit!
My cognitive function. Dude,
Mood changes have been reported, both high and lows, and even psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations and paranoia.
from melatonin.
I said, does melatonin mess with your brain hallucinations?
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't take that much.
Oh well, I haven't had any, and I don't even know
A
how long. But
gazillion.
my
I
sleep,
just started
I
yesterday.
go to sleep like on my own a lot faster now since I stopped taking it. Like,
My
year ago.
brain is very active, so I have to have like something on,
Mhm.
like just for like the first like hour or two. 'cause
but I can't do that.
I conk out like that.
See, what's weird for me
I haven't-
now, because I used to, like, when I was growing up, I used to have a nightlight when I was,
Yeah.
like, really little. And then my dad used to make jokes to me. He's like, because, like, the
Little
evil.
bitch.
No, not like that. Like,
Oh.
no, my dad never did anything like that. He knew, like,
Lucky.
whenever I was scared of something, he knew I was scared of something. And he never joked with me about anything like that. But, like,
I don't know.
like,
I used to be scared of fucking.
he doesn't strike you as the kind of guy that you would think would do that. But
Yeah.
that's how he treated me.
I got bullied as a
Lucky.
little kid for not wanting to go into Halloween stores. What the fuck is this? I used to be
I
like
gotta-
terrified.
Dude,
and
I
I got
gotta,
bullied.
I
for
gotta
it.
have my dad tell you guys a story sometime. That's really funny, but it was like I was genuinely terrified in the moment at a Halloween store one time, and there was like this animatronic of Scream,
Oh shit!
Ghostface,
Yeah.
and it was like it was big. It was like freaking like 6'6", something like it was huge, and I was like 10, so I was like this tall.
Uh-huh.
And
My-
it was like gigantic, and it was animatronic, so it spoke and it moved whenever it was motion censored. So
Yeah.
like you'd walk up to it, and it said you had to grab the phone to get it to work, but it would actually work before that. So like hearing my dad tell the story, it's much more funny because he watched me trying to approach this thing over and over because I was a kid and I was at that age where I was about to go to like a preteen or whatever you want to call it, that age, like whatever, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah, like
But like I think I was like 10, 9 or 10.
prime
honestly.
preteen
But like
stage.
I was like, he said I was literally trembling, like shaking, like walking towards it because I couldn't let myself like walk away from it. Like, man, I'm a limp. I wanted to go up to it. And yeah, he said he saw me doing it, and then I finally worked up the courage to get up to it, and then it like scared the hell out of me.
As like a
It's like,
kid,
hey,
so
hit me or what? It was something stupid, cheesy.
So my brother, his first time going into a Halloween store, he didn't give a shit. He was like, "This shit is funny," right? He was laughing at it.
From
For me,
zombie
I was
movies.
5. I was 5, and I went in, and the first thing I saw was this fucking like the old like diving suit. It was green. It didn't say anything. It just freaked me out. And I was like, I don't want to fucking be here no more.
Well, because it was green.
No, I don't know if that was why. It was a Halloween store, scary, and Bang.
Man saw the pre-kick ass suit.
and I was like, it was like as a kid, it freaked me out, and I would like I like tried to avoid Halloween stores as much as I could. Now it's like, oh, this shit is cheesy and like fucking
How old are you, Alex?
esque. I'm 20. Oh,
No, it's okay. You gotta put. Yeah,
Wow.
nuts.
Okay. I
what?
thought you were older for some reason.
See, that's what everybody fucking says.
It's okay. We did the same thing with Logan. We still do.
Yeah.
I thought Logan was older.
Yeah, he's 21 now.
Uh-oh.
The Social Security is
Because
But,
it just plays the elevator music.
443-132-239.
the thing cuts out. We're just beating his ass.
It's somebody's. It's not
You gave
mine.
it too many digits, Alan.
Wait, didn't 443-244397?
Oh, I thought you gave it like one more. Okay,
Okay,
I thought you gave it one more digit.
That's somebody's. It's
Yep.
gotta be.
Yeah, that is somebody.
It's somebody that lives like in fucking
It's okay.
Florida.
They've all been leaked anyway. Remember.
Yeah.
We're all screwed.
Yeah, okay,
What was I
don't
gonna
have it
say?
anyway.
What we're talking about? Oh yeah, something more lighthearted.
Yeah, but before that, I'm gonna say something worse. Anyway,
It's gonna get worse before you get
so
to
the
better.
same store, dude. Like that had that Scream animatronic. It had all these other things. It had a crawling zombie, bro.
Oh,
that would
God.
come up, and I mean like coming at you. Like I see it in my mind even to this day.
Terrible.
And he's
So-
scared.
This thing is like this was like 10 years ago, and I still see it, or 12.
I see it in the middle of the night.
I see it. I see it in
I
my
imagine it
dreams.
crawling towards me.
My family.
No, but that's not what I was gonna say. I'm so sorry. I'll make this quick.
No, you're
It
good.
was that, and then they had zombie babies, dude.
Oh yeah, those are ugly.
They are. It is so horrible because my dad was like, "Yeah, that's where I draw the line," and I was like, "I'm back with you." Holy crap! My mother was like, "This is cool." We're like, "What's wrong
Fucking
with you?"
stupid.
See, women. What's up with women? What is up with women with scary stuff?
I already
That's
wrote it
weird.
down, man. It's okay.
That's
It's in the
so
book.
weird.
You don't have to keep going. You don't have to. The bit's over.
No, but
'cause
seriously, I'm genuinely like confused. Like, have you noticed that?
I think it
Is me
depends.
obsessed with scary stuff?
No, but
Or, like-
she's
or
obsessed
does she,
with
like-
gore,
Yeah. That's
like
yeah,
real
that's
shit.
like an
That's-
aspect.
that's-
But I think that.
That's
But I
still
think
an
the reason
aspect.
why though is because we also grew up in the generation where live leak was a thing,
yeah, but
and
I'm
when you
not
get like your
obsessed with it.
well,
I
when you get like your
watch it
brain
all the
on fucking like murder mysteries, and that's what your like parents watch is they watch the murder mysteries when you're like a kid. So of
Uh-huh.
course you're like, oh, this is actually really interesting and cool. It doesn't bother me. Then you're like, oh, real gore doesn't really bother me because you're desensitized. Because when it's through a screen, you think it's like, oh, this is somehow fake. If you saw this shit in person, you'd be like, you know
Bro,
what I'm saying?
I shit you not. One time,
I mean, from my
on
experience, it's very
fucking
different.
TikTok, I was just scrolling through, and I just saw this guy that he's like, "Hey, you want some water?" And he turns the camera around, and it's just a guy with his face off, like skinned.
Yeah,
He's like, "Come on," and he's slapping him. "Come on, you want some
the
water?"
blood splat.
And he's like, "Ah." And it was just like,
Are you sure it was real?
yes, it was. It was a cartel member,
Oh my!
and I was like,
that I thought we were going lighthearted, but all of a sudden we got a lot darker.
"You guys, I was so
Jesus.
No, you guys started. You guys started talking about other stuff.
Sorry.
It's my
What were we talking about before? Because I had something to make it more lighthearted.
I'm sorry.
You
It was
son of a
Halloween
gun.
stores.
He's like,
Oh,
you
no, it
ruined
was before that.
He's like,
Because
you
you
ruined
mentioned Halloween
fucking
stores.
Go, you ruined.
You ruined it.
You ruined my thoughts. Anyway.
Whoops.
Okay, let's go. You know what I like about Halloween? Oh, another thing. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to do anything Halloween because my parents and our religion, they're like, can't do that. That's like Satan's birthday. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I forgot. You haven't told this in a while.
Yeah.
I think we've talked.
The only times I actually dressed up was one time where we had like a fall festival. That's what they called it to like keep everyone in.
Mhm.
And I dressed up as Spider-Man. And then the second grade, to like 2-3 years later, we did another one, and I was like, "Mom, I want to dress up." She's like, "Well, I'm not getting you another costume." I'm like, "Okay."
Spider-Man again.
So, well, I was too big for it, so I just put the mask on and I put a spider ring. And I'm like, "I'm Peter Parker," but
Cringe.
cringe.
Green in brightest day.
In
black-
brightest light, fear the spider's bite. But
No, it's
Oh,
we were fucking talking about the acting stuff.
oh,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, we were.
we were talking. I don't think I was gonna say anything about that.
See, the thing that got me was it was like you feel yourself going through the air. Now feel the air going through you. I was like, what am I, a fucking ghost? Damn.
That
Yeah.
just made me feel like this is gonna sound weird, but like this made me feel like an air filter.
Yeah, yeah. No, I gotta agree
Like
with
just
that.
dirty.
I felt
like, just like. ooh.
I felt like a piece of jello.
Dude, when she started saying it, now feel your knees holding yourself together. I was like, that is weird and
I'm the
incorrect.
T1000, bro.
That is weird and incorrect.
That is a weird statement. Feel your knees holding you all together. No, no, that's not how that works. I'm sorry.
But
Like, and from
When she said that, I started thinking of my spine for some reason. And I was like, okay.
coming from like an anatomy standpoint, no, like no. But it was like I felt my knees kind of like feel weird in that scenario. I was like, holy shit. Also, why the fuck?
It was
Like,
weird because like when I mentioned that all of a sudden, because I had pulled like a muscle in my upper back like 4 or 5 days ago,
mhm.
and I'm still feeling it like a little bit, like it's almost completely healed. And like I didn't feel it at all today until
She said something.
Be aware of it. And then I started feeling all the pain going down, and it was going to the end of my arm, all the way to my elbow, to the tip of my pinky. I was like, that's a nerve or something.
Thanks, asshole.
And that's why I mentioned that. I was like, I feel pain right now. Thanks.
Ow.
No, I felt my knees kind of get
My
a little
back is getting tight.
You know what I felt?
Ouch.
I felt like a sack of meat.
Dude, yeah.
I felt like a sack of meat, and all my organs were just. And every time,
Ew.
yeah, dude, that's how I felt. And every time I walked, I'm like,
Ew.
ew, ew.
This motherfucker walked by and goes, "You're now manually breathing." And so the next time I saw him, I was like, "You're manually blinking, asshole." And then I walked by him again. I said, "You can feel the bones, or you can feel your skin on your muscles, asshole."
I don't want to think about that.
But
What freaked me out is when she said, "Now feel your feel your
Feel-
insides from the inside."
How does that work?
I'm like,
okay.
yeah, I walked back.
Invert.
You seen
The fucking Rick and Morty.
yeah. You seen what is it? The famous spider, or what is it? You know the Spider-Man comic, like when he's like Spider-Man no more and takes off
Yeah.
the mask. Have you seen the Marvel Zombies equivalent to that? He rips his skin off. He goes, Peter Parker no more. He rips his skin off and leaves it in the trash.
Just
He's
Ghost
walking
Rider.
away with the suit on. Just dude, when he's like web slinging he shoots his veins out instead of
That's gross, but that's cool. That's really
it makes
cool.
me cringe so hard.
But you know what I like about Halloween?
Sorry, side note.
Sorry.
That's cool though.
No,
That's
actually,
interesting.
that was what I. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways,
Continue.
The aspect I like about Halloween is not the scary shit, not the blood, not the fucking demonic shit. For some reason, I have this like strange fascination with like just the classic monsters.
yeah,
Witches. And you know what stemmed from that? I watched Hugh Jackman in Van Helsing. And I was
I
like,
just watched that the other day.
I was like,
I love
ooh wee. So cool.
It is a good movie. It really is.
See,
Like
that is the-
werewolves and
that is the one-
vampires.
Yes. That is
Like,
one of
I
the
don't know.
best werewolves, I think, to this day.
Yes.
Is his werewolf transformation at the
Yes.
end. Bro, it's so good.
So good.
I find folklore really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh, I need to know about the demonic stuff. It's more like, I think it's interesting to hear like kind of the myths and legends of other like religions, and not just other religions, but also like other like people. So like specifically Native American legends are really interesting to me, the good and the bad. But some of them freak me out, and I'm kind of like, okay,
Of course, talking about spirits and things. of
yeah.
that
When you're
nature.
talking about like spirits and shit,
When I was a kid, I would see like I'd just be sitting here and there's like a pattern on the wood and I see a face. I'm like, hey, that looks like a face. That's weird. And one time I was under the influence of some stuff, not illegal stuff, but for some reason I started seeing those faces. Those faces from the walls and like the wood stuff, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I'm seeing the faces again. And then it just started
It's been
feeling,
12 years, but you know.
it's been 12 years, but
so bad.
and also I'm sorry for using this accent. I've been watching too much like Godfather stuff and like Mafia and Penguin and all that. So it's like, and I don't know why.
That's
I
my
just
like
kinda-
little kid voice, bro. I don't know what you mean.
That's my little kid.
What are you
That's
talking
what we were
about?
talking about today. What do you mean? Oh, that was my toy.
Dude, that was
Nope,
funny.
toy.
Dude, that was actually a really fun exercise. I wish we had done a little bit more on that.
I want more improv.
I want more improv.
I think it would help us a lot.
I find out that I struggle a lot more with like with the way that we have to write out like the beats today, like for that assignment. Like it's hard because for me it's like here's 4 major things that are happening, and I'm definitely going to change everything that I do every time. Like even if I write it down, it's going to change. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like my gestures might change, the way that I throw shit might change. Like it's not really a matter of consistency, because it's like I'm gonna change it anyway. Like I know what I want.
Well, that's the difference, I think, in like being what they call being bound by like what a script
Yeah.
has to offer. And that's like when you see a really good actor in a horrible movie, it's because they are limited by the script, because the director's like, oh, I want you to do it exactly like this every single time, and there's no interpretation practically.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the problem that we're having with that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of part of the problem. And if I feel like if we had a little bit more creative liberty, especially the people that like are in a class for that,
Mhm.
I feel like we should be able to do that. It should,
Especially because it's fresh.
yeah.
But it kind of irritates me
When is it?
I have years of experience.
November 7th to the 9th.
7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah.
You should come watch it just to come watch it. But
I'll be like, this is shit.
Let's come trash on it.
Yeah, like
I fucking hate this.
the intermission, like
Yeah.
intermission. This
this is shit.
It's just dog water and they just like walk out, like storm out.
That's you're about to
shit.
pull. You're about to pull. Oh, wait, I shouldn't say that. 'Cause we're not there. Does he?
But
I'm gonna have to.
I'm so sorry.
Guys, I don't know what that was.
that was scary. But like
was that annoying?
like I like thinking about like vampires and like Count Dracula
Gotta amplify that.
and like werewolves, witches, ghouls, like that stuff. Like to me, that's not scary because it's just like then like they made a whole like animated movie about it, and Count Dracula was like, I came to dance. Like
Yeah.
I watched
Adam
Count Dracula do Gangnam Style. Like,
Yeah,
It was like
like
Adam
it's-
Sandler, bro. I mean, come on.
yeah, like,
here's kind of where I think the horror has kind of gone away. It's because like it's so easy now to just create something with these characters, and especially today with like with the internet. I think that's the crazy part is that it's like anything can be de-horrified because it's like,
Well,
now I'm watching this character that is supposed to be a horror icon do fucking the nay and whip.
yeah, but
It's like,
now
okay.
it's kind of going backwards a little bit because like something cheesy like Nosferatu, like way back.
Oh,
then, the
yeah.
old one, is like super cheesy and everything, and it's supposed to be like we would view it as like, oh, this is kind of honestly kind of sucks, compared to what we're used to saying. But now they're not. I shouldn't say remastering. They're redoing. They're doing them. Whatever.
a modern
like
Yeah,
a
take.
doing a
modern
modern take on them and with actual horror elements
Yeah.
and like actual
But
scary.
I thought the whole
shit.
point of Nosferatu was to be like satire. I thought it was. Is it not?
Yeah.
Or was it like an actual attempt?
I've
at
never
horror?
seen this movie.
I've never really seen. I've seen portions of it. I
My
haven't seen the whole-
my fear of Nosferatu comes again with the uncanny thing. He looks fucking uncanny as
Yeah,
fuck.
but exactly. But
But,
then
like-
you take a look at like SpongeBob making the parody Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, and then he smiles.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's like
like-
that's kind of gross.
Yeah, but like right. But like this movie
Oh,
that's gonna be coming out is gonna
Oh.
be like
Scary.
it's coming out
soon.
in 2 months. Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, Morbius. No, I'm just kidding. Pull your shit together.
No, dude. Do you know who's playing Nosferatu?
See, like I was
Bill
just
Skarsgård.
that scared me,
Sweet.
and it's barely anything.
That is kind of
Eat-
bloody eyes.
Yeah, like
That's
You guys
scary.
remember that, like, as kids, like Bloody Mary and things like that?
Fucking Christ, yeah. That shit's scary.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, but although always the rules change, it's like it's forever changing because it's like I got told like 3 different ways to play it. It
Well,
was
I
like
used to look up. Well, I was the kind of kid that used to like after playing games like that, I would go on YouTube and look up that game, and then it'd be like a fan film that somebody made that I didn't know was a fan
See,
film.
I think that's
and
cool.
they would actually like show some woman playing her and like screaming. At
I always
or,
think
like
that
jump scare you or something.
I always think that type of stuff is like, interesting because it's like what people can do, like creativity of people is like awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like also the creativity
Well, I
of
appreciate it
people.
now. I didn't
Well-
appreciate it back.
Well,
Yeah.
where I'm kind of going with this is like the creativity of people kind of pisses me off too because Rule 34 on the internet exists and that shit makes me mad sometimes. It's
Yeah.
like that should not. Why does everything have to be that way?
Yeah.
It's stupid. 10-year-olds should not be. Never mind though. I won't get
Dude,
into that.
my
But that
first-
shit makes me mad.
My first
But you know-
YouTube experience was back when the app was the little TV, like the brown TV.
Dude, I remember that. I
was
remember that.
on the iPhone 3.
I used to play all the Ben 10 transformations I was playing with my Ben 10 toys.
Really?
I'd be like, it's hero time. And you would hit the Omnitrix. I would play the transformation for myself. And then I would be like, he's Diamond Head now. Rah, Diamond
Yeah.
Head.
My sister and I used to play Ben 10 a lot growing up with the Omnitrix and the figurines. I need to find those and bring those up here sometime because I cannot. I have to
steal.
put away. He's like, I'm going to steal them from you.
You'll never see them again.
I'm going to steal the moon.
Can we all agree that the first Despicable Me movie was actually pretty good?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Everybody looked,
Yeah.
no. Just fuck you.
He's just like, well,
The first one? Yeah, the
Yeah,
first,
First
one's
one's good. Yeah.
Who says it isn't?
People just hate on it now because
People hate on all the movies, bro.
Let's talk about one.
I think the third one's the weakest.
I think the third one.
Yeah.
Well,
The fourth
now
one.
fourth one.
Well,
Now the fourth one.
oh yeah, it goes the third and okay, the most recent two.
Yeah.
those two.
Fourth,
Pretty dumb.
third, second.
What do you guys think
First.
about
Well-
the Indians movie?
I like the second one.
The first one was funny.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think it was that bad. I think everybody kind of like
Pro.
shits on it still, but
Oh man.
I
when
I
they're
thought
in
they
the,
were funny.
when they're in the boat.
that's funny.
Banana! And then we're like fighting over it.
Okay, one thing that I want to talk about before we hop off
Yeah.
off the thing. Let's talk about Joker 2. Because I just kind of want to get everybody's opinion.
Where? Just kidding.
I got
A lot of-
reason to live. Anyway.
A lot of people have disliked the movie, and they were very upset with the movie.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that movie?
I thought it was men.
I liked it. Hot take. I enjoyed the fucking movie.
There's parts of it I liked. There's parts of it I didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
There's parts of it that I think they could have handled better because the first movie, I feel like they were trying to push it in a different way and leave it kind of ambiguous to the audience, which I kind of appreciated more than creating a sequel. But as you and I were discussing earlier
Yeah.
today, I can see why they made a sequel also because the first one did so well box office wise. But it was also, I feel like it also did well at the time because of the killer clown crap that was going on simultaneously with the first movie coming out in
Yeah.
2019. So, right before the pandemic hit. So, yeah.
Dude, I was not playing around with it. I don't. Yeah.
I waited for Joker to come out on streaming services.
I know. I watched it in theaters
So-
and I kept looking at the door, dude.
Oh, dude, my dad and I did too. We literally like went all the way up to like the back right corner, so like there was cover, you know, if need be.
Also, anime fans are weird when anime movies are in theaters, bro. Motherfuckers be unironically,
Never seen an anime movie in theaters.
dude. Yeah, no, not
Trust me.
this didn't happen at One
That's a
Piece.
lie. I went and watched Superhero.
Yeah.
When they did
Totally.
One Piece Film Red, that didn't happen. But there's been a lot of TikToks about people like going to like a My Hero movie
Mhm.
and motherfuckers be dressed as Deku getting in front and goes, I know that I'm supposedly the hero in the story. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Oh no, dude. Okay, there was this one where the first one was like, oh, that's cute. But it was this guy that he was dressed up as Goku and he's like, theater, let me your power.
See, but that's interesting.
And it's just like, and everyone's like, spirit bomb, ah.
See, but that's like kind of cool, funny.
But then everybody else started doing it. And then they're like, ladies and gentlemen.
We must call out to All Might. I am here.
And I'm like, what?
Everybody scream with me. Go plus ultra. But like with the specifically the Dragon Ball one, that
Are
works.
you-
And it's like, oh, because Spirit Bomb needs the power of like everybody, like a little bit of power from everybody.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's fun and interesting, and that's a way to engage people before the movie.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
It's not as self-centered
Yeah.
as like the other.
Jumping up and being
Yeah.
like, hi, my name is Deku, and All Might is my favorite hero. Let's call out to him. It's like,
have you seen that video where it's like it's these two dressed up as Deku and Todoroki,
oh.
and they're like introducing themselves to like a mob or something.
Oh, yeah. This
and
is
then
my
and then
favorite.
it's just Joker and Batman. Batman's like, what the fuck is this? And Joker's like, you see, Batman, these two are cosplayers. But why does one have green hair and one have the red and white? Oh, well, you see, Batman, they're from anime. You know, and these people...
Says the
watch
man
that
with
stuff.
green hair.
And then he's like, but why is he saying that? Why is he saying my Todoroki and stuff? Well, you see, Batman, a lot of the people that watch these things like to make their own relationships, often gay, man. And he's like they like boys or something. And he's like, yeah, Batman.
Bro, that was me the other day when you guys were like, we're glazing you.
We're glazing.
I was
You're like, what?
What does that mean?
Sometimes we're just so out of tune with internet slang. It's fucking
I'm the
outrageous.
worst one, man. I'm the worst.
What does cooked mean? Like,
The sad
They
thing
used
is
that in the Penguin.
cooked.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, but Salvatore Maroni's like, all right, Penguin. Or maybe they didn't call him. They do call him the Penguin, but he's like, all right, Oz. This is my city. No, you can't kill me like that. You're cooked. And he's like, oh, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. And he's like, oh, I could see blah, blah, blah.
yeah, but the way that,
oh my god.
but it was like a term used before now. Now it's like kind of like cringe and like used as like a, oh, like I'm cooked as in like I'm just
Yeah, but they
fucking
mainly used
Funny
it
thing is
because
that-
it's been...
I knew
Yeah.
what cooked meant, but I didn't know what glazing meant or meat writing. I didn't know what.
Meat writing is crazy. It's very self-explanatory, and the fact that you didn't get that as
He's like, no, but he's like, meat writing. Oh,
That's
gay?
exactly.
That's why when you said that like in the Batman voice, like they like boys or something. That's what that reminded me. I was like, what, like gay?
Like gay?
Yeah, I thought Joker.
You do
No,
the Vegeta voice too
What?
good now? Because every time if I want to watch an episode, all I hear is you.
Are you serious?
Yes. He's like, Kakarot. And I'm like,
That's Sam. Kakarot.
like, like I hear it now. Like,
Who would
you
name
do
their
it so
son
good.
Trunks? It's a fucking girl's name.
Uh,
My baby
I do.
boy.
That's what I said. I always do the abridged voice. I'm not even doing the actual voice.
Dude, the abridged voice is really fun.
Be stronger than me.
You,
They
Namekian!
kill me.
You, Namekian! Strong! How?
Explain now. Anyway, yeah.
Or fucking, my baby boy!
Yeah, and he goes,
Vegeta, no!
he goes, mine,
Vegeta, yes!
yeah. Mine. And he's just cute.
have you seen my Dragon Ball mug?
It's pretty sick.
No?
I wanna be
Maybe.
a Super Saiyan.
It's Super Saiyan Blue,
There you go.
Vegeta, and Goku, and then in the middle it's Vegeta.
How did you
I think
become
I've seen-
Super Saiyan?
Yeah.
Trained. I trained really hard.
No, he said, oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. You had that for a long time. That was over at the apartment. I've drank out of that.
I drank out of that.
I've drank out of that.
It's just like an influx of people are like, oh, that's a cool one. I'm like, yeah.
it is cool.
Yeah, I'm like,
I drank hot tea out of that one time.
Okay, back to Joker 2, then we'll close.
What are we talking about?
Joker 2, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it was pretty good.
I think both sides have valid points.
I think so. I think it's just up to the person.
Yeah,
I think I just need to watch it a couple times more.
Yeah.
That
I
happens
think
with
it's
me
going
with
to end
movies.
up being a movie where people come back to it and they're like, oh, this was actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Or it was better than
better than what they're
Which is
saying.
alright.
Because, like, I went back to The Amazing Spider-Man, both of them, and I was like, these are not as bad
no.
as, like, people
I
have
think a
been
lot
saying.
of us got on the hype train of, oh, it's not Tobey Maguire, so it sucks.
I actually liked the first one, though. The second one, I was kind of like, okay, the writing's kind of dog shit.
See,
but,
though,
you know.
the second one I like.
Oh, yeah, that suit was crisp.
I liked
The
the
first
opening.
one was iffy.
I didn't like
for me.
the plane.
first
scene.
one?
Yeah, I thought the first one was.
I liked the first one. I also liked the suit.
I like the lizard. I'm glad they actually took that concept.
I didn't like the
and did it.
design of Lizard. That was the... Oh,
Well, I
the
like
camera
this-
died.
I like the CGI though
Yeah.
that they used for it.
Oh,
I didn't.
fine.
I didn't like that one
Oh,
arm
well.
was bigger than the other. It was kind of weird, but like, yeah.
It's from beating his dick too much. Fuck. Anyways, yeah, Joker 2, I recommend giving it a watch. Hopefully it's not.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm not wrong and it ends up becoming a classic. But
Do you think?
hey, the camera's off.
Hey, no, I know. Camera comes back on.
Well, we're
oh no!
Jump scare.
It's just Alan.
But yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and close this out. Yeah.
All right,
Ready?
let's do it.
All right. Thank you
Lord,
guys.
please help us. Oh,
What?
Huh?
I thought we were gonna close in a prayer.
No,
I mean, we can.
We should
If
to
you-
get the demons out.
we can do that off camera.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that share button because you know what? It'd be great to get this podcast out to other people. With that, just remember to not fall in, tie your shoes, and make good choices. Good night.
We're ghost
Oh yeah.
out.